And this week on Lower Third, we're going to do something a little bit different. And, so it turns out that this is the 1 year anniversary of our podcast.
Yay.
And also, we have just recently crossed the 30 subscriber mark on YouTube. Yep. And we promised you guys that we would do something special for an episode if that ever happened. And since it happens to conveniently be happening at the same time as our 1 year anniversary, we put our heads together and came up with...
We apologized after we covered. Sorry, stupid joke.
And so we're going to, how do I tie this into the wager?
There's a little bit of a wager going on here. So Steve hasn't seen The Fifth Element until just now. And Scott and I had this bet going on. And we each think that he'll have a different reaction.
Right.
And sort of the stakes are, if I'm correct and Steve did like The Fifth Element, then Scott has to watch the movie Grandma's Boy,
which let's be fair, is a fate worse than death. So
it's not really his thing, to put it mildly. And if Scott's right, which is that Steve overall doesn't like The Fifth Element, then I have some movie that I'm supposed to watch, which is unknown to me at this time.
So I was figuring out, what are my options? There's some contenders. Safety Not Guaranteed, which is the other version, the other movie by the people that made The One I Love. So that was a contender. Garden State, you still haven't seen,
right?
Which is
the greatest hits.
This is why it's on the
greatest hits of movies I haven't seen. Yeah.
So there's that. The other one that I really, really want you to see, but I think the time of year is wrong, is Arthur Christmas.
Oh, okay.
I think the one it has to be though is Silver Lining Playbook.
Okay.
So
all right, fair enough.
So.
I'm considering changing my stay. I won't do this to you.
Okay.
But I just want to say that it has crossed my mind that I would make you read the entire Dark Tower series.
Look at fate worse than death.
That would be horrible.
Get back to me in about 10 or 20 years.
Our next episode of Lower Third will be scheduled for
2016.
34.
I don't even know what order to read them in.
I can give you some notes.
We just have to do a montage of me like sweating, like flipping pages, beard growing.
That's right. You dodged a bullet.
Okay. Anyway, here we are.
So, shall we go on to our review of?
Yes. We'll have. By the way, when we're done, we should talk about, I don't know, maybe what one of our favorite episodes has been so far.
Oh, so a retrospective on the show. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, on to a movie that
everybody else has seen, but me apparently. Until now, anyway. So, The Fifth Element is, according to Wikipedia, a 1997 English language French science fiction action film.
Which is the best Netflix category ever.
With a strong female lead.
It's critically acclaimed.
Yep. It stars Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, and Mila Jovovich. Directed, written, and story by Luc Besson. And the gist of the film basically nobody else because you've all seen it. But the basic idea is that there's this evil force that sort of takes on the form of giant glowing planetoid-like thing that recurs once every 5,000 years. Mm-hmm. And luckily for life, because its goal is to destroy all life. So luckily for life, there's this like benevolent robot race that is friends with life. And
this is an awesome description.
This is so good. I'm so glad we did this.
Can we review your description when we're done?
So anyway, they luckily have like some tools at their disposal which help prevent life from being extinguished.
Of course.
And these tools consist of four like triangular brick things that represent the fire, water, earth,
elements.
Air, the four elements basically, and a fifth element which is not a triangular brick, but which is actually triangular brick. Which conveniently for life and for Bruce Willis is this like scantily clad, like flaming red hair woman named played by Mila Jovovich.
Yeah.
And so she's the fifth element, and so anyway, life goes on, and then time passes, and it's like 20 2236, something like that.
2265, I believe. March.
Okay.
I think it's March 10th, 2265.
Wow. How many
I'm
times have you seen
impressed.
this film?
It's on his little calendar when he's taking the phone call from his mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Which also, they happen to, by this point in the future, not have invented cell phones, it seems. Despite the fact that cell phones did exist in 1997, which I thought was entertaining. But anyway.
Getting ahead of ourselves.
So anyway, the giant evil sphere thing, which is named Mr. Shadow, I believe.
Or that's what he identifies himself when he makes a phone call.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. That's the name he's chosen this time around, I guess. I don't know.
Anyway, it comes back again. And that's what it looks like. Its latest cycle. And so, unfortunately for life, the four triangular bricks have been misplaced, and the robots have a terrible crash landing and all die. I don't know if they actually were alive in the first place, but whatever. And only thing that's really around to save life is Mila Jovovich. And she runs into Bruce Willis, and they go on this escapade with the sort of sundry cast of characters, including a TV, a variety show host.
He's
and
a radio host?
Yeah, something.
Ruby Rod?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, to go and recover these bricks that represent the elements and save life from being destroyed.
By the way, minor note: Ruby Rod is also in Silver Linings Playbook, which influenced my.
What?
Yeah.
Not as Ruby Rod, but the same actor.
Yeah, Chris Tucker. Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a different kind of movie if he was.
Amazing.
So can we watch the same Silver Linings Playbook?
Space Edition.
Yeah. So does that cover it for this?
I think it's about as far as you're gonna get.
It's about as good as it gets. Yeah.
Heavily French.
Yeah.
So Justin, what did you think?
So I love this movie, and yeah, I think it's just I don't know. I think it's one of those movies you can put on just anytime and just have it it's like a lazy Saturday afternoon or whatever. It's I want to put something on, but something that you've seen a bunch of times but still good. And The Fifth Element's perfect. But yeah, it's so. The description of it as a English language French film is actually totally spot on. I feel like it kind of has sort of the same bones to it that actual French movies have to them, Delicatessen or Amélie or some of that other stuff. It kind of has the same sort of Frenchiness, but it's all English, right? And so it's I don't know, that's kind of a cool thing. And it's just a very the whole flavor of sci-fi that it is. I don't know what you would call it. It's not your usual dystopian future or perfect everything whitewashed future, but it's like this sort of dirty kind of not really realistic, but also just it's just very kind of goofy and off the wall.
It's almost I kind of think of it as the inverted Blade Runner, because it's got some of the same not steampunk, but whatever it is, the sort of
the retrofuturism sort of thing going on.
But it's not quite as dark.
Yeah. I don't know, but and it's all great. And the movie's a riot. I mean, there's lots of really funny moments. But yeah, overall, it's one of my favorite movies. So obviously, I'm a little biased about it.
I don't remember when the last time I saw this. I mean, I saw it today, but before this, I think it's probably been, I don't know, maybe 5 years or something since I've seen it. And I had vague recollections of what it was like, and I wasn't sure if it was going to hold up. I watched it again today, and God, this is an awesome movie. I mean, really, really awesome. And it's one of these movies where it's so hard to pinpoint why. Yeah. What are the elements that make up elements? But what is it specifically that makes it up? And it's just so hard to quantify. It's just it's got this energy that really movies kind of lack now.
It does. It's really
just this constant something's always happening, and there's this underlying kind of
it's actually more like a comic book. In some ways, all the colors are really bold, and all the characters are kind of larger than life, and everything is just oversaturated, metaphorically and literally. Yeah. And it's kind of great, you know, and it doesn't apologize for it. It just is.
Yeah. But it's interesting because there are a lot of movies that are out now, kind of summer blockbusters that on the surface would sound like they fit that description. Yeah. But they're kind of more just a cacophony of explosions and stuff. True, yeah. And this is more meticulous. A lot of times, it's all very choreographed, and there's specific points being made, and the frames are very carefully framed, and it's intentional, as opposed to some of the blockbuster movies where it's just well, why would we use one bomb here where we could use 10 bombs? Right. So just blow up as much stuff as possible. But everything is very orchestrated, and it's kind of an unconventional heroine kind of situation. But it's just so awesome. And I'd really forgotten how much I love this movie. And for no other reason, I'm glad I reviewed it so I could see it again and enjoy it all over again. And I kind of feel like I appreciate it more now for its subtleties than I did when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I do remember when I first saw it, the other people I saw it with, they were kind of like, that was just sort of goofy. And I remember really liking it. And I think I'd had in my head that, as an adult, I won't like it as much. And I think I actually do like it more. But it's just, I don't know, all the pieces just sort of add up to something greater than the sum of their parts. And she is a great lead, and their interaction's really good. And there's so many funny parts, and so many parts that feel like they shouldn't work together. It does on paper. It really seems like the Ruby Rhod thing would just completely ruin the movie.
Right.
But for some reason, it just makes it all work. It's like this weird glue that just sort of holds everything together. But it's just so inventive and some really emotional moments. If you haven't seen it, you really, really need to see it. Particularly if you like sci-fi or like campy sci-fi.
Campy's a good way,
I think it's just so unique, and you also, I mean, like Aziz Light, right? Like you're missing some pop culture references.
There's like and multipass.
Yeah. Which I always.
Does anyone else want to negotiate?
Which whenever I see multipass encoding, all I can think is Lilu multipass Dallas. Yeah, awesome. And like just an example of one of the moments that are just so awesome and so unique is like when they get like 5 people coming up claiming to be Corbin Dallas.
Yes.
She's like, really? Another Corbin Dallas? But it's just the flavor of the movie. It's just like running jokes and everything. So yeah, must see.
All right, the moment of truth.
Do a drum roll. I'll try to find a drum roll sound. Yeah. And really, just keep in mind that this is not so much about whether you like the movie or not. It's like, which of us you like better?
Man.
But no pressure.
You're tampering with the witness.
Objection. So before I get to my actual verdict,
Okay.
I have to I'll tell you a little bit of like context on like how I saw this film.
Okay.
So like I have this like routine when I watch movies. Like maybe like the last 5 years, something ever since I got like Netflix streaming, where I'll basically like I want to see a movie, and so I'll like go into my Apple TV and I'll like go to Netflix and I'll like go and like search for a film. And in 5 years of having Netflix, I have never once found a film I want to watch on Netflix streaming ever. Like it's never there, and I'm having to go back to like iTunes and watch it or there. And this movie was the first film ever that was available.
Wow.
For Netflix streaming. This should have been the first red flag.
No. Okay.
That's not my
Continue.
verdict.
That was a great setup, by the way.
So the way I sort of like, having seen this film, the way that I sort of imagine it came about.
Hold on. Wait, first. I gotta say, historically, any movie review that starts with you laughing about your description of how you saw the movie typically does not go well. It makes for great watching and great listening. So just go ahead. Sorry, I'm excited.
So the way that I imagine that this film sort of like came to be, well, it sort of reminds me like when I was a kid, I would want to make the best movie ever. And so I would put together this incredibly like complicated like plot and all these different elements and like all these things. And in retrospect, thinking back on it now, I realized that pretty much all these movies that I invented in my head were just like, they took all these elements of other movies I'd already seen, just smushed them all together, regardless of whether they actually all fit together at all. But they're just stuffed right in. And then I watched this film. I thought, wow, this feels like some kid in the like 80s or 90s thinking of all his favorite type of movies that he watched in like the 70s and 80s and putting them all together into one film. Because there's like all these things that like where like Star Wars, for example, it feels very, very like Star Wars-ish, like, and there's like really specific elements that are like that are
The word has come up a lot already. Yeah, but you don't mean like
not elements.
Yeah.
But like the Ian Holmes' character, like the priest, like he has like this like brown cloak. It's exactly
Jedi.
like Obi-Wan's.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah, exactly like Obi-Wan's cloak.
And like the religious order aspect of it.
Yeah. And there's like the ships, which look an awful lot like Star Destroyers. Like especially from the back, they have like 3 engines. And like that's the general shape. And like even like the alien characters, like the non-CGI aliens and pets, like how often do you see like alien pets, like they're in Star Wars.
Right.
They're here.
They looked very Muppet kind of, what was it? A Dark Crystal?
Dark Crystal.
It looked like those kind of,
Yeah.
and I kind of wonder if it was the Jim Henson Workshop. What is it called?
Yeah, it is Jim Henson's Workshop.
Is it? Yeah. I wonder if they had a part in that. I gotta check it out because like the little pet that he had on the desk that looked very Jim Henson. Dark Crystal,
Maybe
the little elephant thing, whatever that was.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah. But anyway, I was sort of struck by all these elements. I felt like they kind of like had come from other films. And then I looked afterwards on Wikipedia, and it turns out that Luc Besson had like come up with the entire film when he was a kid.
Nice.
And then finally made it as a successful filmmaker as an adult. So, and so I feel like the movie is basically like what you get when that happens. Like I expected to like really not like the film, and I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to hate it. I did hate it, however. Okay. Let me be very clear about this. But not as strongly as I thought I was going to.
This is going to be another controversial YouTube video.
You raised his hopes and dashed them all at once. I got nervous I was kept secret.
Like I don't. I mean, there were moments where I was like, oh, this is like. I mean, like the fridge scene, was awesome. With like that when like the superheroes come back and stuff. And, that was great.
By the way,
but then like the whole like when he gets on board the ship and that what was the guy's name? The radio
Ruby Rod, yeah.
And just kept going on and on and on. Like we're looking at each other, we're looking back. Like is this really happening? Like is this still going on? Like really?
Oh yes, he's in the whole movie.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like, it feels very original. I mean, actually not original. I mean, it feels very much like a ripoff of Star Wars and a lot of other films, but like put together in a way that you don't see in a lot of other films.
Yeah.
With great energy. I have to, great saturation.
What did you like? What I'm trying to think like. Where does this rank on the scale of like other stuff we've talked about? Like, because I can't tell. I feel like you kind of liked it a little bit, but like, is it better than Snowpiercer, for example?
Oh man.
Oh.
Wow.
Another controversial internet opinion.
Yeah, seriously.
Maybe. Yeah, I think it might.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like there were more sort of like entertaining moments, like vignettes in this film.
Yeah.
Then they're like post Snowpiercer just felt like it was a bit of a slog all the way through, and there were a few good moments, but it was mostly really hard to get through. And this one, like, for sure, like the whole scene with the fridge. And I also just liked some of the aesthetic. I mean, the CGI, the special effects don't really hold up. That well.
There's not many.
Yeah,
they don't do they mostly stick to practical effects.
Yeah.
I think to their credit.
Yeah, I mean, they hold up better than they would if they were CGI for sure.
Totally.
But it's still like all the. I kind of like the whole sort of that vision of the future with like with the cab and stuff. And it's like almost like vaguely Art Deco.
Yeah,
which is you often see that sort of evoked in the future.
Yeah, like futuristic 40s. Kind of.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And so that was cool, and so there were a lot of like elements like that I liked, and there were just other segments of the film that I just could not wait to be over. Like I had to watch the film in like segments because I was like, okay, I need to like stop this, go to something else for a while. We'll come back, like sort of recharge, and come back and take another run at it,
What did you? Come on, I see like Lori like rubbing your back. Come on, you can do this.
You got this. It's like the boxer in the corner.
Yes.
Like, you got it.
What did you think of her as a character specifically? Like the rest of the movie aside, like what did you think about her acting and just sort of as a character?
Yeah, I thought there were two really outstanding performances in the film. Like most of the performances were like really like overacted, I thought, intentionally.
By design.
Yeah.
Think,
and Bruce Willis wasn't overacted because he never overacts. He's just because he's Bruce Willis. But, so that was
he was the perfect amount of Bruce Willis.
But the two that I thought I was really impressed by when it was her, like she truly felt like someone that was like, just like, totally, out of this world, and like, and you really felt for her, which was like the very beginning when she first shows up in that like, that horrible glass like cylinder, trying, terrified and trying to escape. And so I thought that worked pretty well. And the other performance that was, phenomenal was Gary Oldman's, which I didn't even realize was Gary Oldman until the film was over.
Gary Oldman.
That
so
guy, it is ridiculous how incredibly versatile, not just versatile, but like, I don't know, what's the adjective of chameleon? Chameleon-esque?
It's
ridiculous. I mean,
he's a real shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, shapeshifter.
It's ridiculous. I mean, because like, this is my reference point for what his far end of campiness is. Because he's done pretty dark and like...
I think the last film I saw him in was Tinker...
Yeah, Taylor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
Which is as different as characters as you could imagine.
Yeah.
Like just in every respect. So there's that. There's,
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes, Commissioner Gordon. There is Sirius Black. He's He's that.
He was in X-Men First Class, I think, too.
Was he? I can't picture him right now.
Maybe he wasn't. I thought he was. I'm thinking of somebody else.
He was like some really obvious character. Like, who's Mystique? Wow, that's crazy. I thought it was a woman.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
That's how good he is.
But yeah, he's incredible.
So, performances overall, I thought. The core cast I thought did a really good job, and then the surrounding cast is just
goofy.
Completely goofy. Yeah, which that was part of the problem. Is like I felt like there was like this sort of nugget of these performances, but it was just everything else was just so over the top.
Yeah.
But I did feel like there was a lot. It also felt dense, much in the same way that the last movie we watched, the
One I Love,
felt really dense, and there was all these elements. Like there was this whole thing about like all the trash at the spaceport.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I've never known what that's about.
What is that about?
And she comments on it. Even.
Yeah, she's like, oh, sorry about the mess. Like some kind of like trash cave-in or something.
Yeah, there's a wall like 40 feet tall of trash, that's behind them.
I wonder if that was like a production issue and they just sort of made a story around it. I've never understood that.
But I feel like there's a lot of detail put, thought put into the small details of the film.
Yeah.
Like someone obsessed over it, which I imagine he did since he was like a kid when he first conceived it. Which I applaud that. We've talked about that in the past. I think about films that do that, like the Back to the Future series as well, where there's all this detail and all this thought that goes into the small things. And so I did like that aspect of it. For sure.
Yeah, it's funny. So the apartment scene where he's like stuffing people in every which way.
Yeah.
That just reminds me of that. You guys have seen the video of the Hong Kong apartment.
Yes.
It's like,
totally
the same idea. It's like the shower scoots up and there's like a refrigerator underneath. And
the bed that slides out and it's like plastic wrapped every time. Like I think somebody slides out and they've been covered in plastic.
Yeah.
He slides out and he's like plastic wrapped. Yeah. And like the little mail tube thing where he gets his mail.
Oh, yeah.
Like the little pneumatic tube.
Yeah.
And the video that he looks outside his door is the guy with the hat that looks exactly like the hallway.
That's exactly
What was the guy with the hat? What was that all about?
He's just like a mugger, I guess. I don't know.
No, he was because he's looking through the people thing and he thinks there's nobody there, so he's gonna open the door.
Right.
But that character is the essence of that movie. It's like you could not imagine that working in any other movie ever. No. And it's that level of humor where it's just like I don't even know what to say now.
And puts it in like a rack of other guns. It's like, are those his or did he confiscate those from other would-be muggers? Like, how does he have all these guns?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, there we go.
Yeah, and thinking of the door, the other really quotable line from the movie is negative. I'm a meat popsicle.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry.
That was great. And there are just so many of those things. Like the film was, I wrote my notes that the film was in desperate need of an editor, but maybe that would have ruined all these things everybody loves about it. It's like there's so many of these scenes that really have nothing to do with the overall, like the plot. Maybe they sort of help like the gestalt for the film, like that one, like the whole, like music, like the whole like musical number that when they first board the spaceship and all this stuff, which. Really
when they first board the
whole opera
thing. Yeah, exactly. And so like all those, they're really necessary for the film, to proceed, which is somewhat the opposite of like, the One I Love, where it felt like very like everything was there for a reason. You kind of need every little piece, in that film. And here is like, unless, and you don't really need about a third of it. But,
it's funny. I had forgotten about this, but the opera scene always stood out for me, even when I first saw the movie, as sort of an interesting choice because. Like you kind of get the impression that Corbin is like too good for this. Like it's not really his thing. He's like, oh, this is stupid. I'm not really into opera, but I'm pretending to be whatever. Yeah. But he like is affected.
But by the end, he actually thinks it's really great.
And he's like standing up and like I just thought that was an interesting choice. Where it's like cool. You don't really need that to make the story work. But I kind of dug that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So Silver Linings Playbook, you'll love.
I will report back. Is that our next episode then?
I don't know. Well, we could. Well, I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. I would be happy reviewing it as a whole, but I didn't know if you were just gonna do it or we could all do it. No, I'm down with that. I'm down with that.
It's sort of in that weird sort of limbo where it's like it's not like the Fifth Element where it's like kind of old enough that we can.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's bring it on. Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Is that everything we wanted to cover? I guess we didn't really. I guess we spoiled the whole film, right? We didn't really.
Probably.
I think we did. Yes.
Retroactively. Forget everything you heard.
But we should. So okay. So we did get 30 subscribers, which thank you very much, and we'd love to keep growing that number because it's interesting. The thing I've noticed is that as we gain subscribers and people like the videos and stuff, it seems to be this like snowball effect because we get in rotation more, which I think is why we're seeing a lot of.
Yeah, we went really quickly from 20 to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the I mentioned last episode, Snowpiercer is actually our most popular episode now, and which strangely enough is where we first came up with the idea for this. We were talking about that, and I said, "Oh, that kind of reminds me of Fifth Element."
Yeah,
and then we're like, "Oh, you were like, he would hate that," or you said you would love that respect whatsoever, and you're like,
Ruby Rod.
"Yes."
The best.
Have you seen it?
I've seen parts of it.
Oh,
It's
I don't
a
think
long
you-
time.
Oh,
would
I think
hate
you'd
it.
love it.
What?
No,
hate
you
that
would think
movie.
it was great.
Are you serious?
No.
Can we bet on this? I don't know what the stakes would be.
Yeah. What would we wager?
So you could do the thing that we did, which is that you choose a movie that you want me to see.
Oh.
I choose a movie that I want you to see, and whoever gets Steve's guess right, also we have to convince him to see it.
That's true. Okay.
We'll work something
I'll take
out.
that bet. We'll figure something out.
We'll let you know next time
Yeah.
what happens. But I'm pretty sure he would hate it.
Okay.
But
I think you'd enjoy it.
okay,
We'll find
I
out.
thought.
I thought you would really like it.
yeah. So that one.
Sorry.
Clearly, I don't know you as well as I thought that I did. It's cool.
But anyway, so like, please do subscribe because it's exciting to see people check out the show, and
Yeah.
we will keep bringing you shows if you keep showing up. And so we had a 1-year anniversary.
Yay! So we should talk about our favorite episodes then.
I think it's this one. Just sharing your description. I don't know if I don't know. There's a lot of really funny episodes. I almost feel like some of the experiences we've had off camera have been some of my favorite parts. Like when we've
Yeah.
seen like movies, early screenings of movies.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Like when we all got to go to see
Saving Mr. Banks.
That was
awesome.
really cool.
That was. I mean, we've never talked about it on the show, but
We
that was,
almost recorded that episode
We
like
did.
in the lobby.
Yeah.
We were so excited to talk
yeah,
about it.
yeah. We knew that was one of those things. I think that was the first time I was like, A, super excited to go see an early screening, and B, like super glad I was there, and
Yeah.
like it felt like a legitimate experience.
Yeah, totally.
And it was so, and even like Laura was there, and she wanted to talk about it. And I was like,
She was so frustrated because we basically drive all the way back down
Yeah.
from San Francisco.
She was, like,
and we
bursting
couldn't
into
talk about it the
scenes.
whole time. Like, we really wanted to talk about it, like,
Yeah.
and talk about anything else in the car.
and the other thing I think is awesome. So I mean, those things honestly are probably my favorites. The stuff that we haven't even done on the show, but just as a consequence of doing the show. The other thing I think is really cool is like all the stuff I've discovered that I never would have checked out.
Yeah.
Like I never would. I don't think I ever would have played Kerbal Space Program or like
Yeah.
Game Dev Tycoon. A large majority of the stuff we've talked about, I think I wouldn't have checked out, and like some of it ended up being my favorite. Like Cabin Pressure, I love that show. I've listened to the whole thing. I never would have listened to that unless you had brought it up and we talked about it.
And I never really read any I didn't really read comics since I was a kid, and that was mostly like Calvin Hobbes and other like a whole different variety of comics, not like graphic novels like you think about them now, and I may never have gotten into those, and I don't know if I'm like really into them, but like I read the entire Why the Last Man series, because of this show, which was really great, and so I was just a sort of a similar experience.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know what stands out for you.
I mean, kind of what you guys said, like just sort of getting out of your comfort zone and like reviewing stuff. Like some of the movies and like indie games and stuff that we've done have been sort of like, I don't think I would have tried those, but they actually turned out to be pretty cool. There's at least one episode that stands out to me. And I'm not exactly sure why this one stands out, but like I think our episode where we reviewed Device 6 was actually really cool, mostly because like the way that the sounds got folded, because the game itself was kind of an audio game in a way, and the way that it kind of folded into our commentary on it, I thought it was so cool. And it's still one of my favorite episodes just because like the way it all came together was actually really cool.
Yeah, that was exactly the same one that I was going to mention was Device. And I love that episode. As much as I hate listening to myself, like this is I've actually managed to listen to the entire episode. Maybe the only one I've listened to all the way through.
Yeah, it's funny that game just sort of lended itself to that because it was so audio focused, and because a lot of games, although there may be audio, it's never background audio. So it's like something that would be hard to splice in. We kind of did it with Cook Serve Delicious as well, because there's sort of that background cooking stuff. But Device 6 was kind of destined to work well in that case.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I started looking through some of them. I mean, like we don't talk about it a lot. We talk about Spectacular Now as one of those. The first 10 we did, Spectacular Now, I think way back was kind of in that list, and movies that I don't think I would have seen otherwise. And now are kind of like a reference point for me for like other, like Spectacular Now. The acting in that was so good. That's kind of like one of the high bars for like how good can a performance be.
Yeah,
totally. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah. I'm kind of shocked people want to listen to us.
People are still downloading this after a year. That's good.
But you should tell them how can they get in contact with us. And
Yeah, so if you haven't, this is the first time you're tuning in, or you somehow missed this
Very
in the
confusing
previous
episode.
50 episodes, you can find us on Twitter at Loworth Show. You can also find our website at loworthorbit.fm. We also put all of our show notes there, so you can find all the references that we've made during the show.
Most of the Dark Tower.
Yes.
Running joke.
If you ever need a link to Dark Tower, you can basically
Any page on our site.
Should we just have a page that explains all the running jokes? It's almost like the director's commentary, where it's like, what are they talking about? Why is heartfelt dramedy so funny to these guys?
By the way, Silver Linings Playbook is a heartfelt dramedy.
Oh my gosh, I'm so psyched. I'm so ready.
And our YouTube page, yes. Loworth Show again, right?
Yep, Loworth Show.
Yep.
YouTube.com/Loworth Show. Subscribe, so on.
Yep. And we'll do something awesome when we get to another 48 round number.
Yeah.
Say 50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
57.
Oh, and
it's good goal.
If there's stuff you guys want us to review, you should tell us.
Yes,
Yeah,
put it in the
totally.
comments.
We're very interested in that.
We actually do read all the comments.
We do read all the
Yes.
comments. And
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, bye, guys.
On that note.
Thanks for listening. I love all the things you do with your eyebrows when you're saying this.
Strangely, it's pronounced Smith.
The P is silent.
And all the other letters. And also, there's new letters instead.
Beast could, get a psychic
Eat her-
impression
yeah,
when he
yeah.
eats Belle.
There are alternate Archies as well.
Oh my god! Right!
Geopolitical struggle involving dragons and Vikings.
You will find me out.
It was like, your knife and boots, boy. I'm like, is that a thing?
Expect you to dine.
Which the villain
Dinner.
Yes!
Points for like, oh, you've exposed the goo to air, you've exposed the goo to space, you've exposed the goo to the moon.
I mean, something happened.
Yeah, there's a thing that happens. Frenchiness.